Hello, this is my hard mode trials off healer conception build. This is my Breton Arcanist. So I will go over a couple of the things I have set up on this. My front bar is almost exactly the same as my Warden setup, with the resto skills and the barrier on the front bar. Still leveling this, unfortunately. This should be your spammable for Arcanist healer. This provides damage shields to the group, and it also creates a crux. Now, why is that part important, you may ask? The Arcanists have passives for healers that are important. While you have a crux active, your healing done is increased by 3% per crux. So once we get into combat, let's take a look at my front bar skill here, Illustrious Healing. Currently, it just sitting still with no buffs or anything is sitting at 32,768. So if I go over here and hit the dummy to get into combat, so that the skill generates crux for me, I now have 3 crux. So it went from 32,000, now I'm up to 35,000 on just one skill. So that's why it's important to have crux built up for an Arcanist healer. So you want to be casting this quite often. Now crux lasts for a long time. You can cast a skill and your crux lasts for 30 seconds. So as soon as you get your 3 crux up, as long as you don't have a crux spender, those will sit there for 30 seconds. You don't have to babysit this that much. And the shielding is going to be a benefit for 6 seconds. More on shielding here in a little bit. So my front bar is set up very similar to my Warden. I do this so that I can play on virtually any class and have a very similar setup. I have my Illustrious Healing, Energy Orb, Combat Prayer, Radiating Regeneration, and Barrier, always set up in this manner, and this is my in-class flex spot, so that I know that is my skill on this character that is unique. On my back bar, I have Recuperative Treatises. This is a generating crux skill, as well as a means of getting major brutality and sorcery that's going to increase my heals by 20%. It also will give me magicka and stamina back every 5 seconds when it deals damage. So in order to do that, you have to be within range for it to do damage. So if I hit him one time, this will do damage when I do damage with the staff. And that's when it's going to give me the skills back. You have to actually do damage with your weapon for this skill to proc. Then we have the Overflowing Altar. This can be flexed out if your other healer is wearing it. Then Xena's Empowering Discs. This is a very good skill for Arcanist healers. It gives your group minor recoveries as well as minor courage. This will proc our back bar weakening glyph. And then a scribing skill I have set up on this guy. Once again, with a damage shield on the back bar, giving me back resources, and it applies major vitality that'll increase shield size by 12% as well as healing taken. So I can pop this on myself, or if I have an ally nearby, I can also hit a single target ally. So if you're going to heal ice cages in Sunspire, this is a good one to have because it gives the damage shield and it applies major vitality. So let's go over the gear sets I'm wearing. You can notice that I'm wearing a very odd monster set that not a whole lot of people run. Because Arcanists have another passive in their healing line that focuses on shield strength. It increases damage shields by 10%. So the conception of this build is to provide damage shields to everybody. So I've got the increased healing with Crux and damage shields. So I have damage shields here and here, and then my monster set will also apply a damage shield, and it will give somebody minor force, although that's not as needed because most DPS are running the Velothi or Mythic. But let's just see how often I crit. There's the shield there. I'm critting quite frequently there. There it is again. Anytime you see a heal with an exclamation mark on the end of it, that is a crit heal. So let's see how often I have a critical heal. I'm currently sitting at 33.4% crit healing. That can occur every 33%. So my other max stats, 39,000 and 2,400 recoveries. That's pretty good. So what are my other gear sets that I'm wearing? I have the Dragonstar Arena Masters Restoration Staff. This is very good for giving recoveries back to your group. On my back bar and jewelry, I'm running the Master Architect gear set. The reason why I don't run a Rojo on this concept build is because I have run into a lot of situations with poor uptimes on a Rojo build, and I'm trying to combat that by giving a much larger Major Slayer buff. So if I go to my back bar with the Master Architect active, I also have the Glyphic of the Tides, which will also increase weapon and spell damage by 200 for 15 seconds, and it will also heal the group, and it provides major protection if you heal up the Glyphic to full health. So let's just see how that looks. You can watch my buff bar down here at the bottom. Let's try that again. This time I will do this in combat so that it procs the Major Slayer. So I hit the Major Slayer. Now I have 50 seconds of Major Slayer. So I can hit and I have Major Slayer still ticking. So that is the reason why I have Master Architect over Roaring Opportunist. Rojo takes up 10 armor slots in order to use that. This takes up 4. And it gives the buff to 5 people. So how you want to run this is when you're going to hit your ultimate, you can either run to your group that need it, or you can tell them to stack on you, because most of the time, as a healer, you're going to run an icon on your head in the trial. So you can just say stack on star for Major Slayer, or whatever you choose to do there. Now you may have noticed I have some weird looking orbs floating around me. This is kind of the healer's version of Pearlescent Ward. This is from the new trial, Lucent Citadel. This is Xoryn's perfected masterpiece set. What this does is it gives everybody 1,667 max magicka and max stamina as long as they're within 28 meters, and this gift persists through death. Now, you might say, well, that doesn't sound like much. The purpose of choosing this set is because I'm not using Warhorn anymore. The group is running at full crit damage. They don't need the Major Force buff. So, what you lose when not running the Warhorn buff is that you no longer have the increased resources. This set helps manage that. Instead of 10% fluctuating up and down when somebody fires a Warhorn, this gives you roughly 5% that never drops off as long as you are within a 28 meter radius. So rather than being on a healer that has to sit here and heal and dodge mechanics and then heavy attack twice every 22 seconds and then also hope to have a full proc of Rojo, now all you have to do on this is heal. And if you're ready to drop your ultimate, then you run over to your group and you drop your ultimate and you go back to healing. It's much less chaotic. And because we're running a defensive ultimate here that also is offensive, we're still gaining something from that back bar ultimate, from the set and from the skill. I still have barrier on the front bar for the mag recovery, just like the other healers and tanks. That 10% mag recovery helps a lot. And again, this is a Breton. So the champion points on here are virtually the same. I have the shield increase, the red fast res. These two again are always slotted. For my blue tree, I have the staple 3 right here. And here's the one difference between the Warden has this giving over heal recoveries. Well, because I'm a shield focused build here, this is going to give a damage shield to anybody that drops below 25%. So again, you have an additional large shield going to activate. So this goes hand in hand with the Warden giving resistances. This build will give healing and shields and Major Slayer. And that's ironically how I have my builds labeled in my armory. Thank you for watching. I will go on to my support DPS roles.